These people can be very resourceful. The problem is that they will literally have no problem to smash you down so they can achieve whatever they want, their goal. You have to learn to use these people properly. You have to learn to protect yourself. Do not avoid them. Learn to use them. To argue with a narcissist, it's not a winning strategy.
Half a year later, I saw my notes with all my ideas, which he all rejected. And I realized, almost all of those ideas were implemented by him.
If we say, yes, you're 100% narcissist, really hard one, they'll be just out of the door, never go to therapy again and all that. So it's such a game with them. It's crazy.
Entrepreneurs, like other people, have to deal with difficult people around them. Narcissistic people are pretty difficult to deal with. Today we will discuss how to recognize a narcissistic people and which problems they can cause and how to deal with those situations and with those challenges. We have an expert for narcissistic disorder, Kristina Vuteva. I really like this topic because I myself had some challenges with a few narcissistic clients, and I'm really excited to hear how I could have dealt with that much better.
Yes, I would like to hear your examples as well. That'll be interesting. Okay, so narcissistic people, there are different types of narcissists, but let's say that in business you probably meet more the grandiose type. So the person that really thinks of himself like he's big, he's better than everyone else, he's the best, he's the sun, and everyone has to, go around him and all that. That's probably someone that we see in business. My point of view is that I like these people. These people can be very resourceful. They are high achievers. The problem is that they will jump over you. They will literally have no problem to smash you down so they can achieve whatever they want, their goal. But if you want something to be done, they are the people for the job. You're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to have the results. So for me, you have to learn to use these people properly. You have to learn to protect yourself because you can get very damaged in any interaction with these people because they try to use you all the time, even when you don't know how they do it. But it just at the end of the day, you're like, what happened? I'm empty-handed. I thought we were together in this and all of a sudden I'm empty-handed. So you have to learn how to protect yourself. And if you get smart in all these games, I think you can really, as a team with a narcissist, you can achieve a lot in business. I really believe in that.
So it's not about avoiding narcissistic people in your company, in your startup, but understanding whom you are dealing with and then understanding how to deal with those people.
My statement is more, do not avoid them, learn to use them. Learn to work with them, but you have to know your boundaries. And if it comes to it, you might have to leave. You might have to leave the situation, the business, the whole thing. Or this might be a very resourceful client or something like this. But if your boundaries are pushed all the time, maybe it's time to leave. So you have to know your boundaries very, very strictly. And just protect them at all times. Like, it's really to be aware all the time. You have to stay awake. Like with the narcissist, it's really hard. Like you have to be all the time, you have to be awake. You can't just cruise around. You can't just have a laugh. Every even casual conversation, it's intentional. So you have to be always, takes a lot of energy. Know your boundaries. And even if it's a joke, and even if it's, maybe we'll do that. Oh, maybe it'll be better if you work a few more hours on this. And you have to say, even with a smile, no, thank you, I'm not going to do that. Or that's not in the contract. Or we can discuss that. We can discuss extra hours or something like this on the proper cost, and they'll be fine. With a smile, again. With a smile, because they will try to push the boundaries all the time.
Wow, that sounds like atomic energy or atomic weapon kind of thing. There is a lot of potential.
Just really don't go into the victim mindset. Just think of yourself. You are in this situation and it's an opportunity to learn something or to grow or something like this. If you go into the victim mindset, this person is trying to get the most out of me, this person is trying to use me, try to use the business, try to use the situation, that you smashed, you're done. He will win. Okay. But if you take it as a game and you understand the game and you're like, okay, I'm not the narcissist. I see I'm not the narcissist, but I can play this and I can use this in my advantage. And if it's really draining me, if it takes too much energy, even if I'm winning by money or whatever, I might decide to leave because this is taking too much out of my time. Stay aware all the time because they are aware all the time. Even when they laugh, even when they smile, even when it's a casual talk, they are aware and they have a strategy all the time. So you need to be as well.
How do you recognize narcissistic people?
Narcissistic people are super nice. They're super charismatic. They can use the mirror tactic, which is they connect with you very quickly. They like the same things. They have the same goals. They see the situation or the business strategy as you do. They very quickly can show you how it will be good to have them in your team. They'll very quickly get into you. Quick. They'll be very quick. That's another thing. You don't have much time to think. They'll be very quick. And you'll be like, oh, that was the person I wanted. Because let's be honest, even in business, it's hard to find partners. It's hard to find people with the same ideas. It's hard to find people that understand us, what we want to achieve. So all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this guy gets me. And this guy can be so helpful in this. I've been looking for this guy all my life. So that's the thing. Wow, I'm waiting. I'm like, all of a sudden my prayers are answered very quickly. This is the mirror tactic. He sometimes listens to what you want and he's okay. Oh, wow. I know I've been wanting to do this the same. I know how, okay. And you say, I want to get to 100K a month. And he goes, yeah, I know how to get to 150 a month. I know the strategy. I'm so much your guy. Like something like super quick, like it gets your adrenaline super high. So you literally can't see anything else. So that's the thing, super quick. That was the mirror tactic. But that's the interesting thing is that sometimes could be completely the opposite. Could be that they're not interested in you at all. They can just talk and present themselves all the time. I did this. I can do this. I'm the best. So that's another thing, how to recognize them. They will try to sign something quickly. They will try to catch you quickly. Okay, let's do this. Let's go together and find the place for the office. Tomorrow, we meet today, we have a smoke together, and tomorrow let's go and get the office. Tomorrow or in a week, let's go get the loan from the bank and we're starting this business or something like this. The narcissist tries to catch you, and the quicker they catch you, the quicker they can try to use you. I'm thinking now in a long term, they have victims. So for most people, they're super nice and they have one or two victims. So maybe the whole team and other people will not see what's happening in your relationship, business relation. They will not see what's happening between you two. They will see the narcissist as a super nice guy, a super helpful guy in the team. They have their victims and they do everything in private.
Yeah, I've heard they are very nice to their bosses, kind of, or to their, they can be pretty ugly to waiters, to their employees.
Yeah, they know how to work the system. One thing that I'm thinking in a business environment that could happen is for them to take advantage of their colleagues in front of their boss. So, for example, it was a teamwork. There were 3-5 people working, but the narcissist did the minimum of the job. And all of a sudden, when we are all together presenting the project to the boss, and he'll be like talking about it, he'll be taking all the space about this project. And in the boss's mind, will be, oh my God, this guy is the best. This guy did the project. Actually, while all this was happening within the team, the narcissist will be, excuse me, guys, but I'm so tired today. Excuse me, guys, but I have home problems. My kid kept me awake all night. Oh my God, my head hurts, whatever. But he'll make excuses. He'll try to overwork colleagues as well. He'll be like, I can do this enough. Would you just do a little bit more? Would you just do my email as well and things like that? And another thing is he will try to shame them, of course, in a way that, oh, I can do this in a minute. Let me show you how it's done. I can do this in a minute. You're taking a whole day. Let me show you. And when he's showing him how this project is done, he's really, when you think, I've seen this, it's really, he's taking all his job and then pretty much just coloring it, just doing the last touches, and all of a sudden it's his project. And he did it in 2 minutes. It's often. So you have to stay aware And what to do in this situation if you're in a team like this? You have to protect yourself. You know what? You have to protect yourself in the right place. So the right place, it's not when you guys working on the project and you're like, oh, what are you doing? I did this. So why you telling, or another thing is, why you telling me to work until you're not my boss? Why you telling me to work an extra hour or something like that? To argue with a narcissist, it's not a winning strategy. So what you need to do is when, for example, this project is presented, you have to super calmly then show your boundaries. Then speak up super short and say, by the way, I did most of this. But you have to say it. This is the thing. You got to be brave enough to stay and say your word in front of your boss, in front of a narcissist, stand up and say, you know what? I did this. I did this 90%. And if there is an argument, then it will be in front of your boss for some reason. Stay out of an argument, because if you touch the narcissist, he will explode for sure. He will explode. And it's better for you to be super smart, super intelligent, and to have a referee, to have your boss as a referee. Because if this happens in private, the narcissist will just smash you. You'll just waste energy. No point there.
It seems like narcissists, they have more motivation and energy for all those wars and fights with others.
The main thing is that narcissists do not have empathy. That's why they're very good CEOs, they're very good managers, super good. Like the company really goes up because they do not care who's going to get fired, if you have kids, if you die. They do not care. They just care about the result. And they will get to this result for sure. So they are good in this. But if you try to play them on, please, I'm tired, please, I need a day off, this is not going to work.
Interesting. It seems like they really like if they are praised. Is there some approach that you can be kind of a friend with him and not in a war, in a peace, when you say, you are such a great boss?
You're smart, eh? Of course, you have to praise the narcissist all the time. He has to feel the best. He has to feel appreciated all the time. That's the thing. That's the exhausting part, that it's all the time. The thing here is, again, I see the boundaries, because it's like you tell him, you're the best, I really appreciate you, I like working for you, blah, blah, blah. And he'll be like, oh, so you don't mind working an extra hour, right? Or, something like that. So you don't like working for free at the weekends. Also, you don't mind doing my whatever laundry. The thing is here to have the boundaries, and the narcissists they don't like boundaries. And even when you praise them and say, you're the best, I appreciate working for you, I learned so much from you, but you express boundaries and you're like, no, but I'm not going to work an extra hour. It's not in my contract. He will not like that. And he will push you down. He will use that. So it doesn't matter how much you praise him, how much you try to befriend. If they don't get anything out of it, like they will try to push boundaries. The moment you set boundaries, they will hate it and they'll shame you and they'll push you down with no problem. Even though maybe you were on a trip together, on a family trip together last week, and you're best friends, in the business situation, but you're best friends, no, he'll have no problems pushing you down. And that's where you're going to get hurt. Because we're talking about business situations here, but let's be honest, we do feel like friends every now and then. And imagine having a barbecue and introducing your wife and kids to your boss or your teammate. You feel like you're connecting, you feel good. And the next day he just doesn't care and goes through you as a bulldozer, and that really starts to hurt. And then just don't because this can affect your work. You can start feel really, really sad and not appreciated in your work for years and years ahead. So the thing here is really, again, stay aware. Take it just as this is a narcissist. This is the way he does things. This is the situation. But I have so many pluses in this job. I feel so good in all these places in this job. I have so much that I appreciate in this job. Don't go into your victim mentality, because this will ruin you. This will ruin your life. It's a big thing in US. In US, they cannot change jobs just like this. And very often they have bosses or teammates that are narcissistic, and that ruins their life, like literally suicides and things like that. So yeah, stay aware. Don't go into the victim mentality. There's always a plus in the narcissist. You can always use a narcissist. Tell me about your examples. What have you been through?
Yeah, it was interesting. I had a client and I put him so up there, like wow, he's so amazing. It's my biggest chance. I'm listening to him and he is telling me those amazing things, and I am coming up with many ideas to him, and he is always smashing them down and he doesn't like them. And I was like, okay, yes, of course. He is the expert in this area. I have to learn so much in this industry. And then, like, for several months, I was putting him so like a god or like a genius. And then I met with my business partner and we started talking about what he is saying to me, what the narcissist, I didn't know back then he's a narcissist, what he's talking to me. And suddenly I had like a realization. So, wait a moment, it actually doesn't sound genius.
Yeah, like I thought. Thank you so much. This is such a good example because one of the things the narcissist does is creating this fairy tale, this fantasy. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. This is going to be amazing. You have the skills to do it. Da, 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 da. And that pushes you, like, really your adrenaline is starting to work and you starting, like, your ideas are going crazy in your mind. But this is like the fantasy that they create. And after a while, you realize that this is just talk and nothing is happening. It's very good to have a perspective from outside. That's super good, and see this was crucial for you. And it's very often like this. Yes, we put the narcissist up there and we are down. Like, they're usually up there. I think it's good because it's good to be able to learn from someone. We always need mentors and stuff like this. But yes, again, just know your own worth and only learn from them. Do not really put them as best person ever because everyone has failures and all that, So yes, try to use them. Try to use what they're saying in your situation, but not really like the whole personality that it's great and the whole thing, because that's when you start to not see the red flags and you just all into it. Whatever they say, you're becoming like a doll to them. Whatever they say, you do it. Whatever they say, you do it. So it took you what? It took you a few months to realize that.
Yeah, I felt really a lot of pressure to prove myself. And I felt like he didn't give me the chance to do that oftentimes. He was like, okay, don't do your stuff. They have to do it together. And he didn't have time, postponed. And I was like having so much pressure. So I went to a therapist and hypnotherapist. That's where my journey started. I'm really, really thankful for him because he pushed me so far outside of my comfort zone of my well-being. And the therapist told me it's not healthy for me to keep my opinion back, and I have to voice my opinion. And I was his favorite kind of team member before that. And then I started voicing my opinion that contradicted. It felt for him like a criticism. And suddenly I was gone from his favorite list. He stopped meeting with me to talk about strategy, about business. And for me, it was like, wow.
Yes, what happened? Okay, another few crucial things in your example. Super good what you said, I felt pressure. So that's something we try to tell people to sense how you feel, because that's how you would feel around narcissists. You will feel pressure. Your whole body will tense. You'll be always careful, or you'll be overworked, or you'll be trying too hard. You don't feel relaxed. You don't feel yourself. Pressure all the time. It's good sometimes. Sometimes we like pressure because it pushes us outside of our normal square. But narcissists put you into pressure too much all the time, which is not healthy. It's even worse for the brain. So feel your body. Very good. Okay, you felt the pressure not to fail. Another thing the narcissist is implementing in you, that if you fail, be careful because you don't know what's going to happen. And you feel it, you feel thankful. So yes, so there's a thing. And my point, and you said it here as well, is very much to be narcissist always changes us. puts us to the next level. You also, through Narcissists, you learned a lot about yourself. So I think that through Narcissists, we always learn and get better version of ourselves.
And the interesting thing is, he pointed fingers to others, of course. When I joined his team, there was another person, and he was disregarding this person. This person came only for him, this place to this town, the same for me as well. And he was meeting with me all the time and said, tell him we are not meeting. So he wanted to not have this other person with me. And for me, the understanding was, okay, this other guy has a problem. He is kind of narcissistic. And it was also they had some problems within a team.
Okay, so there's the triangulation. He uses the triangulation here when there is another person, and through the other person, he's showing you that you're actually the special one, that there is someone else that really wants access to him, but he's giving it to you, so you're the special one. And we do get high into it on this, even people that work with narcissists and know a lot about it, we're humans, so this works on our brain. The thing here is to know that today you're the favorite. You have to see the whole dynamic. So today you're the favorite, but tomorrow you're not going to be. So if this boss, your boss, let's say, can do this to one person, tomorrow he can do it to you as well. It's a personality code. It's not that you're special, but it's something we like to be in that position. What I do with this is I don't shame yourself if you allowed yourself to feel special for a bit. Don't shame yourself, but just acknowledge it. I did this. I take the most out of it. I obviously needed to feel special. Time to wake up, time to see the whole situation. And just to be aware, because just to be more prepared, because tomorrow you're gonna be there and he's not gonna want to talk to you. And you have to push through this, because maybe you'll be able to leave this situation and just leave this business, leave this contract if you want to. But what if this contract is really good? You get money, it's good. You just have to deal with the narcissist. Maybe it's better to learn to deal with the narcissist for the cash, for the money. So you have to be flexible here, especially when it's about business.
I also, half a year later, I saw my notes that I sent to him with all my ideas, which he all rejected. And I realized half a year later, almost all of those ideas were implemented by him and by his team. And he saw that as his ideas.
Yes, that's what I was expecting you to say. This is what we talked about just before, that's what he did. So maybe to you, he's saying, that's stupid, don't use it. That's something that it's done, it's not new, blah, blah, blah. Just pushing it down. And then you see them working under his name. That's what I said. As a team member, maybe you'll do all the job and then he'll present the project under his name, that he's done everything. Again, if you see it once or twice, just know about it and know that you can protect yourself next time. Next time, don't get super angry. Don't start talking to your wife, to your friends. Oh, you know what he did? How could he? I did all the job. No, okay. That he did this. He did it once. He did it twice. Now I know about this. So next time I will know how to deal with this. And you can go to a therapist. You can go to some other mentor that can teach you, and you can revise that and learn how to deal with this. So you're not in this situation anymore. Just know that every time you learn, it's not going to be always like this. You learn.
Yeah, we didn't progress very much. And for years, he is struggling with the progress with his company because he's in his way. Yeah, though we had those discussions, monologues from him. And sometimes I said, okay, I don't think it's the right way. We should consider the different way. And then it was crazy. Then he was doing a monologue for 1 hour. And then after the discussion, he called me and said, yeah, what don't you understand? And for me, it's obvious. And we were talking more about my field of expertise, and he doesn't have this expertise in my field. So,
just be very clear about your aim. What do you want to achieve with him? Do you want to get him on your team because of this money? Do you want to make him do this in the whole project? What do you want to make him do in this project? super specific. To make him understand your point of view, it's not going to work. To make him actually appreciate you or say, maybe you're right in this, it's not going to happen. So you have to be smart enough to extract the best out of him. The thing is, and you try to, for example, keep the conversation, short. I understand you. I see your point. I understand you. We're going to use this to that extent. Here, I would like to use mine. And he said, I don't think yours is right. I don't think yours is blah, blah, blah. I don't think yours is going to work. Okay, I get it, but we're going to use it anyway. Okay? So in a way like this, you cannot argue. You know what I mean? You cannot argue. It's more you agree to disagree. I understand you think it's not going to work. I understand this, but let's do it anyway. Let's waste that much money and do it anyway. Boundaries. I'm not gonna listen to another conversation with you if we don't do this. And think of something small that is really achievable. We're gonna put my progress or my point here, and then we're gonna do yours part. But I'm not gonna participate if we don't put my point. I'm just not gonna. I'm sorry. I appreciate you. I value you. You're the best. Blah 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 blah. But you know what I mean? So you have to push your thing. And he's going to say, but this is stupid. It's just going to cost us money. It's just going to cost us time. Maybe you're right, but I need to do this. Stay strong. You have to have 1 or 2 points that you want to achieve. Small points, and you have to always go to those points. Otherwise, if you go in the whole conversation with him, you're not going to achieve anything. It's super long, as you said, hours and hours. At the end, you are exhausted. And you have no result. Agree with me that you did not get a result. And someone here has to be, super focused, get the result done. And
the funny thing is, he now is doing that like several years later. He is agreeing with my results. I haven't been working for him for several years, but he needed several years to see my point of view kind of thing.
Yes, crazy. Slow. Slow.
I was telling him in a different way. I was saying, okay, the initial reaction, he will probably reject my idea, but think about it and you will like it. And it was like that. So I told him a big idea, and he said, no, there are 10 reasons that it will not work. And half a year or something like that, he implemented this idea, this big idea, like very huge for his company. So it's always the same.
But the thing with the narcissist, they hardly listen to someone else. They hardly get someone else's opinion. Yeah, there's a thing that their ego here is not playing them a good role. Their ego in this situation is not playing, because in a teamwork, or especially when you guys doing something, new ideas, you got to be open, you got to be flexible, you got to be able to see someone else's idea and just really make it stronger. In a way, that's how it works. While a narcissist, it's very ego-centered. So if it doesn't come from him, he will have really trouble accepting it.
Yeah, it was difficult for me because he was always complaining that we are not progressing, we are not doing so well. And on the other hand, I was telling him, okay, from my expertise, we should do this and this in my area, like in marketing. And he doesn't have understanding of marketing. He has maybe understanding of sales.
That's why he wanted to work with you, because you have the expertise, but then he's not using your expertise, okay? Yeah.
Yes, I realized maybe too late that he's actually using my expertise, but in a different way, without telling me. Probably with this knowledge that I have now, I would be able to work with him longer. But back then it was for me like, okay, you hired me. I have my talents and my knowledge. Why don't you use that? I will rather go to another company, another client, and where they listen to my opinion.
Yes. So here, always stay, again, aware of what you're gaining. So maybe he's not using your expertise, but you're getting the whatever salary, or you're getting a good price. At some stage, in 6 months, 1 year, you might say, you know what, I'll go work for a little less, but my ideas will be implemented. I'll be respected. I will learn more through my ideas, maybe I'll get a little bit less cash, let's say. My point is always to feel like you're on top. If he's not listening to your ideas and he's not using your expertise, you have to find a reason within yourself why you're staying. And you can say to yourself, it's just easy here. Okay, I said my idea. He wants to use it. He doesn't want to use it. All the same to me. I'm getting paid. I'm feeling good. Okay, if tomorrow I don't feel good, I'm sick of this. I want to use my ideas actually. Okay, I'll go and work with someone. No victim mentality. Never.
Yeah, that's so true. We were discussing it with the team about the challenges and problems, and probably it was not healthy for our mind. It felt like, okay, we are powerless. We cannot do anything. And the funny thing is, he had those like kind of managers. They were very, very motivated. Like you saw all the time the same process. After 6 months, they lost all the motivation. And then he was complaining about how they work, and they left. 6 to 12 months, that was an average how people stayed. But it's so funny how motivated and how like, wow, that's the biggest change of my life. That's amazing. And then, actually underneath it, it's not that much.
So you saw the cycle. That's very good to be said as well, that you saw the cycle within 6 months or something. But there's a thing, you have to be kind to the narcissist in a way. So he cannot perform this long way. They get tired as well. So they push you super hard. They get you super motivated and all that. And then all this dies. In this instance, you realize what's happening and this is actually all inflated and it's not real. But how do we use the narcissist in a good way again? Because as you said, he gets them super motivated, even you, super excited. You're working overtime. Your brain is working. Your brain is full of ideas. What you can take out of this is that you have this in you. If you decide, you have access within you for super big ideas, for working super huge, for thinking outside of the square, super high, okay? Anymore, thanks to narcissist that shows these qualities in you, that showed you these qualities. And no, I don't need you anymore, and I'm not going to use you to get this out of me. But it's great that you felt this, and I want you to remember this feeling and to know that it's within you because you're super young and future is in front of you, new ideas all the time. This world is expanding all. And just to know that you can do it. That's my point. You can do it and you have it in you.
Also, another strange thing is he had investors for many, many years, and he's not succeeding at all. And we see how it's working underneath what he's talking about. Like he's talking about his reality. And underneath there is like a really different picture in the company, the startup. And he still gets his investor money from the same investor despite disappointing results. For me, it's like mind-blowing how they believe in him still.
There's a narcissist, The narcissist, if he can keep you on the hook. He can keep you on the hook all the time. He can show you all this. It says it's like a drug. Narcissism, it's like a drug. So that keeps you, how all these casinos and all that works. You investing, and you just that close. So you never leave the casino until you just like really, you sold everything. Same way, the narcissist. You invested so much. You believe in me. You invest so much money, so much time. We are that close. We just need another 6 months. We just need another million, and we'll be there. And it's like this. This time didn't work. It's just the economy was super bad. Now I have this idea. Now I have this team. Just give me a bit more time. So it's like the casino, and he can do that. He can get you addicted to him.
Yes, I agree with you. I think they already invested so much money. And there was Corona and recession. And he has thousands of reasons. And he knows how to manipulate kind of the numbers and so on. What should entrepreneurs do in terms of when they hire a team? And first of all, it's, I think, even more difficult to recognize narcissists when they are underneath you. How to recognize those narcissists, and if you recognize a narcissist, what should entrepreneurs do?
So what I'm thinking, again, so if you're an entrepreneur and you're hiring a narcissist, you have to learn to use him properly, see what you're going to use him for. The thing is, if he's going to ruin your team, because he's going to might start using your team and people going to start failing, leaving, being unhappy and all that. So you have to see if this risk is worth it. What I'm thinking about is that many managers, entrepreneurs might not spot the narcissist in his bad behavior, because we entrepreneurs, we're focused on results. We want our ideas to work and all that. We hire someone to help us and we are interested in that. We do not have time to see how exactly the team interacts and who does what. And sometimes we miss that because you have a meeting, you want everything done, you move on, right? You don't spend that much time thinking what's happening in the team and getting. But if the team starts failing as a team, I think that's when something should click. Yes, maybe you have one player that's really good and you're happy, because narcissist, he will always perform in front of you. So for you, he'll be the favorite. He will perform. He'll be the good. He'll get results. The thing is, though, if the team as a whole is failing, then there is a narcissist in the team. Because if there is a narcissist in the team, the whole team cannot work long time. Maybe for some time, the empaths will help the narcissist for some time, but they'll get tired. This cannot last long term. And that's when, if one person, second person starts complaining, not happy about something, because they might not really be able to say, I'm not happy with him. They might say, I'm just not happy with the environment. Something is not working. I can't work properly. All this pressure, not everyone is aware of what's actually happening. So yeah, the entrepreneur can actually spot this. Another thing, though, if you're working one-on-one, let's say you're the entrepreneur and you're hiring someone, let's say just one person that you need help with. And even though the narcissist is under you, so he's the one that's been hired from you, so he's under you, he will start getting on top of you. He can start saying, you know what, boss, I'm thinking about your best interest. I think it's better for you to take this turn. Think about it. In a way that it's really gonna make your brain work. And once or twice it's going to be the right direction, then third and fourth time it's going to be the wrong direction. And what might happen is he might create this thing that you guys are a team. Next thing are a good team. Next thing he's going to try and get a super big raise or try get a big percentage. And you'll be like, oh yeah, he helped me so much with this idea, blah, blah, blah. And the next thing is he'll advise you something and the deal is going to fail. It's not going to be a good idea. And then he's going to say, well, you're the boss. I just gave you the idea. You're the boss. He's going to back up from responsibility. So things like that, you have to be aware. These are just examples I could think of.
Yeah, on the surface, it looks very close to a successful, smart person you want to work with, actually. But those small cracks in the wall kind of thing, when it's not working, then you see...
What here maybe we need to say is all the big professors and everything that's working with narcissism, they really say that early on you cannot spot a narcissist. You need some time. So even you that you've been in this situation, maybe you think, oh, why did I notice this earlier? Why did I spend that much time or energy or trying so hard, for example, maybe? No, you cannot. You cannot spot it early on. Maybe now that you have been through this, you'll be more aware, you look for signs, but again, you have to give it some time. You cannot, even with personal relationships and with business relationships, you cannot spot a narcissist early on, but that's not really the problem. If you're aware within yourself, after a few months or something, you will feel the pressure. You will feel that you cannot really stand your boundaries very easy. You will notice the signs. Maybe one thing we can say here is do not sign things super quickly. Do not rush. Okay, give it time. Yes, it's a good idea. Yes, we're going to do it. Let's just talk about it. Let's just give it to the lawyers. Yes, it's going to happen, okay, because he's going to try and push it quickly. So maybe that's one thing we could advise them. Just take things a bit slower.
Yeah, I realize now from what you have been saying that I actually had another interaction with a narcissist. he was also really pushing very, very like, okay, you move to our loft in Germany, and within a couple of weeks, you can take over our company. It's amazing. It's this and this and this. And then the reality was so different in the end. It was a broke company, and he wanted someone to get the blame for this company. And he wanted to show us a fancy loft, a fancy, hey, you can achieve high style.
You
life.
know, well, if it's too good, it's probably, it's like, you know, if it's too good to be true, maybe it's not true, let's say. So that's the thing. Yes, I know another person I knew back then. He was doing that. He was showing investors a really good lifestyle, how much money he's making, all this, taking them to nice places, nice car, showing them all this, just to make them sign. And then it was all. But I think people are smarter nowadays. But yeah.
Yeah, I think from outside it looks much easier than if you are inside this. If he's talking to you and
they're smart. They say they're chameleons. They can sense what's important to you. They can sense what's gonna work for you, and they work exactly on these points. So that's why it's good first to slow down, then get a second opinion, like it was in your case. Someone from outside, because if you're one-on-one, you're gonna get burned.
Yes. So it sounds also like they could be a good salesperson to hire.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Oh, I can think now of a really good narcissist that's just such a good salesperson. Exactly. Because he knows with few words, just with scanning the customer, he knows what to sell. Amazing. It's actually, well, that's what I'm saying. You can put the narcissist to a good use. Just try not to get burned by one.
Although when I was listening to him, it didn't sound to me like a good salesperson, because a good salesperson has to listen a lot. And he was just talking.
Yeah.
But somehow with investors, it works.
Yes, with some of them works. Exactly. It depends what the person wants to hear.
As an expert, do you see some famous narcissists where you say, okay, it's a typical narcissist? For example, in this episode here, you have been talking, and I was thinking about Elon Musk. He also pushes his team a lot, and maybe he is also narcissistic. Or is it very difficult from so far away?
I cannot say. From what I know about Elon Musk, yes, could be. You know what? With everyone that's successful, I will think that. When they say, I have a big company, I have achieved that much, honestly, you have to be somewhere you are. I can think here of a very big hotel chain that we have. I know him personally. I know the team around him. He's 100% narcissist. And I see people there working sometimes, not getting this. It's a big company, right? But people there sometimes do not get their salary on time and things like that. And they still stay, which is amazing. So this is a narcissist that can work things around and get his way.
Yes, that's so true. In this company that I was talking about, there are some people, they are working way too much and earn way too little, in my opinion. And they still stay there.
But yes. They're proud to be there. They're proud to be there. It's a big company with big name, with cars, facilities, big hotels. So it's because outside, when they say to someone, I work for such and such, but I didn't get my salary today. And everybody was like, what? You work, I want your job. And you're now telling me you don't get your salary? Yeah, right. So these people actually shut up. They start to shut themselves down, and they wait, and they're like, oh, maybe something is wrong with me or whatever. Or maybe that's how it's supposed to work. But yes, so the big image here is again the image, the big picture, the big image, and then underneath it's usually shady.
Is there a level of narcissism that do some people have an extreme level of narcissism, and maybe even normal people like me and you have a little bit of narcissism?
Absolutely. First of all, there's a healthy narcissism. You can say that this is just your self-worth, self-esteem, all that. You need this. You need to believe in yourself. You can call this narcissism as well, especially people that do big ideas and things like that. Athletes usually have a narcissism because nobody has jumped 3 meters, for example. He has to believe that he can jump 3 meters. So yes, there is a healthy narcissism. Then there is a spectrum, yes, super narcissistic or narcissism with less characteristics and more flexible and all that. What I'm thinking is really, or if you, for example, or someone that's listening now sees themselves as maybe narcissistic, use it properly, use it good, and try not to stay on top of people to serve your ego. That's the worst of a narcissist, is when they try to push people down. For you to believe yourself that you're big, that you're I want to work with you, I'm going to show you, that's all good. But when you start saying your idea is stupid, I'm not going to listen to you, listen to me, you're taking too much space, you're taking too much of my time, that's bad narcissism, okay? So if you see yourself as narcissists sometimes, just try to acknowledge when you actually pushing people down and try to stop that, minimize that.
I've heard with other like mental situations, I don't say disease or neurodivergence or something like that, it's easier to convince people to go to an expert, a therapist. How is it with narcissists? And do you work with narcissists? Have you worked with narcissists?
I have. I don't want to. I don't like it. Narcissists cannot be healed. Narcissists do not go to therapy. They do not accept that there's something wrong with them. They will go to therapy so they can achieve something. So, for example, there's a person that I talk to a lot, Leon Walker in US. For example, he was pushed to go to a therapist because otherwise he will not get his salary from his work. He was in the military in US, so he was diagnosed and he was pushed. And even then he tried to do all these things to get out of it. But at the end, he'll just not get salary if he doesn't go to therapy. So things like that. If your boss, if your teammates say, we think this and this, and you're not going to stay in this company if you don't start going to therapy, things like that might push him to go. The thing is that if he's not sincere in getting better, if he doesn't believe, it says that he will manipulate the therapist. He can manipulate the therapist. That's what's said at the moment. That's what we know and all that. So he has to be sincere. What we do when we work with narcissists is exactly this. We try to minimize the damage. We cannot heal them. We try to minimize the damage. How we do this? We try to show them that they can achieve what they want without hurting others. But if we try to tell them, listen, maybe this aim, this goal is not that important if you hurt your friend, or narcissist is not going to listen. He's going to choose the aim, okay? So what we do is you're going to achieve your aim. Your aim, you're going to achieve it. But please be kind to your friend. And even if you're kind to your friend is just going to even help you to achieve. So we address them through their goals, okay? Because to you or to someone else, maybe I can tell, you know what, you're working that much, you're getting $1 million a year, but your wife is really upset and is not happy and your kid is not happy and things like that. Do you think you can work less? You're going to get $500,000 this year, but your wife is going to be happy, healthy. Maybe you will say, I'll try. Let me just pay off my car and blah, 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 my house. In 2 years, I'm going to do it. Okay, let's talk to you. Okay. But then maybe you agree, right? While a narcissist, never. No way. What do you mean? I'm getting $1 million. I'm aiming for 2 million. Okay, my wife, she's just weak. Too bad. She can stay with me. If she wants an empire, she can stay and she can put up with it. I'm going to give her an empire because that's his goal, right? And he's going to try to convince you that his goal is the best. He's just not going to see your way. Never. So we try to tell them, yes, you're going to achieve this, but if you spend time with her, she can actually help you more, through this. That's how we work with them. And never ever, and sometimes they come and say, am I a narcissist? And we have to be like, You have narcissistic characteristics, but we can work with them. Otherwise, if we say, yes, you're 100% narcissist, really hard one, they'll be just out of the door. They'll say you're not a good therapist. They'll never go to therapy again and all that. So it's such a game with them. It's crazy.
Oh, so interesting. If our audience wants to work with you or profit from your services, what should they do?
So just contact me on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. My websites are there. So yes, all available.
And what is your specialty? How can you help entrepreneurs, for example?
Entrepreneurs, really, if you have anything, if you have a partner, a narcissist, if you have someone in your team, a narcissist, if you have a boss, if you have a client, I think I can be helpful in all these areas. If you get complaints that you're a narcissist and you're starting to worry about it, again, I can work with you to achieve your goals and use your team properly and make the use of your team long term rather than, smashing them and losing them.
Mm-hmm. It would be an interesting idea if you went undercover to a team as a very low intern to see who is really how they treat you.
There's the thing. You have to be inside to see everything. From outside, super hard.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kristina.